So hello everyone again. So let's move to the second part of the workshop that is according to the plans and not very much moved with respect to the schedule. So which is a presentation of what we have been really hard working in the past 2 weeks. Of making the glossariumBITri available, and it's going to be practical because in a way you're going to see the place where you can keep on working. There's many people who were working previously, and we want to show you 2 parts. Actually, we want to explain you what is the project behind, what is the things we are still working on, because actually, as I mentioned before, so according to our original plans, the schedule of the project of the GlossaLAB Dixit project, according to our plans, the semantic annotation that is required to make the articulation of the glossariumBITri required like a couple of months. We were expecting to need a bit longer, so until the summer it wouldn't be ready. But as I said, I asked Daniel, do you think we can manage to do it on the 12th? So I have to congratulate Daniel, because without Daniel's hands, the rest of us won't be able to put hands-on clarifications as we did in the past. So that's what we are going to show you, the reviving glossariumBITri through the semantic annotation. And in a way, this is kind of a presentation also of what will be coming next, because as I present you before for the program altogether, so glossariumBITri represents only a small encyclopedic corpus with respect to, for example, Charles Francois encyclopedia. But the complexity of the process is actually the same, so it doesn't matter. We have done it for the amount we did it now, than for the amount of the more than 5,000 articles that we have in our corpus. So that's something, because of the automation of the process, we will be ready to do, but still there's some work, and we need to show you, and you will see it. And actually, in a way, you may also help us to detect issues that you see in the conversion. So later Danny is going to speak, Daniel is going to speak, but I will start also to shorten the time of presentation. First, whoops, this is actually not, yes, more or less. In a way, so sorry for what is in the top, which is in the Spanish. So it doesn't correspond actually to this part. What we are going to show you correspond to the combination of what we are working in two projects. One is GlossaLAB, the other is CleanFo. One concerns clear language, clear information, inclusiveness, and the other concerns the mapping of the information understanding. But they both are entangled. And from our team, the team of that I am coordinating in the University of Distance of Madrid, Madrid Open University, this is combined. So we actually work with the corpus that correspond to what I've been talking, and the rest of the people is also concerned. So with the GlossaLAB. So GlossaLAB Dixit project, that's what we will explain you. So one problem is the clarity and the inclusiveness. The other problem is about the mapping of the information, as I told you. So first I will tell you I will remember what the corpus is. So what is the baseline? We have the part, and I will explain you about what is the idea of the federated systems of interdisciplinary glossaries. The semantic annotation that we are performing, and also the presentation of the glossariumBITri. That's what we will do in the last part. This is a representation that I have shown in different several times already, and is the situation in which we are. So what we are doing, we have received this corpus, the corpus of the International Encyclopedia of Systems and Cybernetics, the Principia Cybernetica and the glossariumBITri. And our purpose has several dimensions. One is theoretical, so we want to have all this corpus to make it strive to make it rear of redundancies, to bring new perspectives, and also to work in the theoretical reframing, because what we want to achieve is a transdisciplinary stage for the development of further clarifications and for the understanding, for the common understanding of all the different disciplines. The other is technical, so we work on the platform, and the platform is the place where it's received, but it's also the place where it articulates, that annotates, and all these annotations facilitates the navigation, facilitates also the creation of contents, or the automatic creation of many of the elements as I will show you. So the corpuses are the encyclopedia, as I mentioned. It has several editions. So 2004 was the last one, and this touches with a project that was proposed and was discussed in the 70s. Clear together at that meeting was Bertrand Lamphey and many other of the important thinkers of system science and complexity, and that was the time of the second order cybernetics. So the project the idea was system science and complexity science has the purpose of integrating knowledge, but however, we have created a lot of dissonances, a lot of divergences, terminological divergences. So we need to get rid of that and make clear so what everyone is understanding for system, for information, for data, for feedback, and so on. So that was the purpose, and Charles François worked on that for several decades, and supported by many researchers. So this has been a very important work. The other is the dictionary in Spanish, that was in Spanish, and it's something that we also have. He actually started with the dictionary in Spanish, but then he finished with the encyclopedia. The glossariumBITri is the one that contains, it has 2 editions, and is the one that we have articulated now. And the Principia Cibernética is the one that contains, as I mentioned before, 2 other dictionaries. So the baseline for the platform that you can access to it right now, if you type in glossalab.org, so www.glossalab with 2 S, glossalab.org, then you will get to that main page. In that main page, so you see this is already for a longer time. So actually this is not the project in which we are. So this was already done for a longer time. So the symbolic identity was already achieved. Here you have a drop-down menu for platform navigation. Actually, if you click on it, then you will see that there is one part to access to the site of this page. Of this workshop. So the GlossaLAB Workshop. Actually, if you click on this, you will get also to the same place. You have also an advanced search. It's advanced because while you start typing, it provides you already possibilities to continue, so you don't need to remember everything. But we are also planning to develop even more advanced tools for doing better searches, and we will tell you about that. This refers to the multilinguistic functionality. If you change the language, everything will change. So that change will move, and this doesn't mean that every page, because the contents, there are several contents for the definitions, that every content in the definition is something that people is working specifically on it, and it is not an automatic translation. So if you have to select, if anyone is interested in knowing about that perspective, we even have help files and help pages for the language approach. These represent kind of the user management. You can decide how you're going to view, so how you access, so you are the owner of your user account, and you can change how you are identified, how you see things, how you get information from the platform, because you can click on the, for example, in this case, I have a start. When I have this start, that means that I will be informed if anything changes in this page. You have also the access to advanced tools of edition, analysis, and management here. So for having access to all that, you need to be identified. To all the people who were authors of the glossariumBITri, we have created so one user. Some of the people who is here, they already had, so the user will be available, but we have created also profiles so that everything is linked, as we will show you. This is in this case, is access to the current scientific activities, and this is an explanation about the aims of the platform, so what the platform is about and what the encyclopedic purposes are about. For the baseline, so the baseline also correspond to the kind of the placing of the corpus. So we already had a description that the glossariumBITri is there. But actually, what we have now, and we will show you, is not this, because before there was only a few articles, and those articles were not completely and correctly annotated. They only had, it was partially. We had it in a parallel platform. So to make that clear, because we may be talking sometimes about a beta or development platform and production platform, what you get when you access 3w.glossalab.org, that's the production platform. But we have a developing platform in which we try everything. So for 1 week, we had all the changes. We have been experimenting with different changes, and we have the encyclopedia. We have many contents inside, and that is where we try things. The situation in which we were before the projects that I mentioned and the program that I refer to had some categories for the content organization. There has some categories to distinguish between contributors, users, non-users, people that were referenced for the sources, for the different sources, for the knowledge domains, for the collections. But the capacity of the categories that is offered by the basic MediaWiki technology, which is the technology behind all the platform, they were limited. We couldn't develop the idea of the federated system of interdisciplinary glossaries independently, that they supposed to be independent. It wasn't enough, so we need to overcome all those limitations, and that was the reason why we proposed several projects, and we are starting. So the objective was to have this that I already showed you before. So we want to have a federated system of interdisciplinary glossaries. No? Each of them is independent. They have their own criteria for qualifying the articles, and there are also some ideas of how some protocols, better say, some protocols of how one article can move from one from one interdisciplinary glossary to other. So we have proposals. So on the basic level, on the bottom level, we have proposals. So for the proposal is something we move in one of the namespaces of the platform that is called the draft namespace. In the draft namespace, you can work freely, and this is a place and the content that is being hosted there. That content is not being searched by third third parties. Is not being taken. So that means if you look for it, for example, in Google, you would never find it, but you can find contents that is in the main namespace. But there are other namespaces. So actually, every collection is also identified by a different namespace. Right now, we have one for glossariumBITri, which is the namespace GB. So the namespace GB stands for glossariumBITri, and then so the concept comes after. So the vertical relation, the vertical dimension of this federated system is generality or abstraction. So what we needed is the semantic annotation that is being shown here. So this is, we have like the basic objects that you see, which are knowledge domains. So we want to integrate the knowledge coming from different knowledge domains. So one of the articulating objects for everything, so top down, is having these knowledge domains. The knowledge domains emerges so from the universal decimal classification, but it's being modified. It's not directly that, until a level of granularity. So it contains a little bit more than 60 knowledge domains, and the purpose of having those knowledge domains is to have a full coverage of all the different disciplines that may be gathered together in clarification processes. Then we have collections. So we have knowledge domains, we have collections, we have users, and the users can be persons that are authors. They can be administrators that work, for example, as being an editor in one collection. We have many people who is not only author, is also reviewer of an article, people who curate, so a curator. Before in the glossariumBITri, we used to call it editor. So for now, and for all the collections, it's going to be a curator. So one curator is responsible for one article, so that means for one voice. And any article that is being created within this voice, he's going to be responsible within that scope. And then we can also have external authors and reviewers, as we had before. So they can author, they can review if we ask them to do it. And also it's important the relations that we have here. So one article, so it's supported by one or several knowledge domains, because this depends on the knowledge domain that has that the people here has expertise in. So here, as you have seen, I have mentioned relations. So there are relations between bodies, and this is the thing we are doing, that we are implementing. We are creating the semantic annotation for all those relations. I'm showing only the most important ones. So all these belongings, all these authoring, all this curation, and so on, all those are so semantic annotations that we have embedded. So in our first phase, we articulate the corpus and the creation of clarity assessment tools. So this is because we are working parallelly in both sides, on the clarity side and also on the articulation, on the development of the corpus, not the corpus, but also the further clarification. Then the development of clarity validation activities. So we need to validate also how clear the contents are. And as for the analysis of the knowledge system, we also want to analyze how is evolving the knowledge network. And finally, we will implement some tools for supporting clear content creation, with some tools that will help you when you write an article. It will give you some hints of whether this is clear or is not clear. So how are these annotations? And this is kind of the project, and I'm going just to show you a few slides to see what was in the project. So for example, for an article in any collection, so we have a voice and we have a heading. This part of the heading is like the annotation because we want to have a federated system of publication that is indexable. So then you have an annotation that is indexable. so not only for that, also because of the rest of the components that I will mention, like all the review process that is behind, cover all the requirements to have a publication that is indexable. And some of the contents here are automatically being achieved. This is what you see. This is the visual part, and this is the structure. So the structure of a collection that is being built up by articles and by the revisions. The reviews has also a particular structure because we need several reviewers if several knowledge domains are concerned in the clarification in one article. So we may have several authors. Then we have quotations, citations from one article to other, and we may also have references. So this is also an important component, an important element. The references we also want to annotate because we want to know, so what is the network of relations in all the contents, and so what relations exist between the different sources. And okay, so all many of these parts are being created automatically. For example, in this case, this info box, like the name, the curator, when was it validated, if we have several versions, so what are the other versions, and all of them are active, so they are interactive. So that means if you click on the author on one of the names, then you will see what this author has been published, and it creates a page which is automatically created. Okay, so this is, for example, for the author. If we have clicked on one of them, then we will see something like this. So the roles that has in GlossaLAB, the contributions in GlossaLAB, in this case, what we have, because for the time being, what we have is glossariumBITri. So then we will see what is being produced, or what one author has in GlossaLAB. And it links also the knowledge domain is also one component. All of the components are active, so that means that when you click on them, something will happen. So and it's kind of a request to the semantic engine that will say, for example, if you check for an author, then this author is author of what? Or if you check for one knowledge domain, so this knowledge domain contains all these articles and all these people that has expertise in it. This is another component which is for us is very important, which is the reviews. So the revision of a version requires several reviews. The reviews, when you have one review, then you have one article that is approved and that is in the namespace, in the main namespace, and is fully annotated public. So it contains all the elements of the publication, as you will see for the glossariumBITri. This is for the collection. So the collection, like in a journal, so it contains volumes. It may contain numbers if several numbers are being produced in the year, and this is the way it's being shown. For example, right now, in the case of glossariumBITri, we don't have this info box for the collection, but what we have is the creation of the indexes that you, as you will see. This is for the knowledge domain. So the knowledge domains, if you type on if you are in GlossaLAB, you type on in the search box knowledge domain, you will see an explanation of the knowledge domains. But the knowledge domain are also some elements, so to say, citizens with their own characteristics, and the characteristic is something that we will show you later when Danny will show you. This is all the knowledge domains. This is the tree of the different. Oh no, sorry. I thought it was the knowledge domains are only here shown a few of them. But you can see the whole tree. One of the purposes I mentioned before, and is something basic and fundamental for our annotation, is to have a co-occurrence matrix in each article. So that means if we have for every article a co-occurrence matrix, which means that two concepts appear in the same sentence, if that happens, so there is one linkage. There is one semantic linkage. There is one semantic relations, because any sentence has a unity of meaning. Therefore, necessarily, there is a semantic connection. We could do even better if we even categorize the different types of connections, because the verb is usually the kind of connection that is being established between two concepts, and this is something that we may also do when we have a fully annotated. But this is also one of the purposes for all our annotation. So the representation that you are seeing here, I have shown many times, because this is actually a result of 2016 for the glossariumBITri as we had it at that time. And this is only shown at one level of frequency. This is the network shown only for the contexts that are more frequent and only for the relations that are more frequent. If you don't see some connections, it's because they are under the threshold of representation, and the thickness of the relation means harder, so higher frequency in the connection between concepts. So for us, this is a basic element in order to make further calculations, further analysis. Quantitative, but is a quantitative analysis that is very close to the qualitative, and we want also to review what does this mean qualitatively. So when we check on both sides, on the quantitative of the network analysis and the qualitative of the knowledge system, when some changes has happened. For some reason, it's not moving anymore. Maybe it's because I have get to the end. So maybe Daniel, we can show the glossariumBITri. Do you have the? You can share the screen.
Sure, I can. Well, I hope you listen to me. Well,
I don't.
Okay, I will share my screen to show you the GlossaLAB site live. Well, enough theory. Thank you so much, Joe. Let me put the talk in a context. I usually, when I do a prompt on AI, I like to begin the prompt with "in the context of." Well, it's quite easy to compare our site, GlossaLAB, at a technical level is somewhat the same as Wikipedia. So we have Wikipedia on one side and we have GlossaLAB on the other. Here we have the GlossaLAB Edu concepts, where the students are developing concepts on very little grain level of detail. So if we are going to talk on the level of detail, this will be very fine. Or glossariumBITri. Let's go. Well, I think. What do you want to see first, Joe?
Maybe start with the glossariumBITri page and then go to the indexes.
Okay. We have a glossariumBITri page.
So now if you enter, you will see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually what is the content, that content is the one that I mentioned before, that we already had it before. But what we have now is access to the indexes. I don't even know if it is, I thought I had it in English, but maybe we only had it in Spanish. I don't know, maybe if we don't have it in Spanish, then that's something we have to do it, but this is something we can do it straight ahead.
Yes.
Because all that content originally was in English, so it's not a problem. But get so access to the indexes.
Yeah.
So now we can see. So before, you remember the previous platform, because of course we could also speak of the book, but the format is different. So we have tried in a way to be consistent with that edition, because it was the one that was most reviewed. So if you remember how it was, the interactive platform, in the interactive platform that right now can only be seen in the Internet Archive, because the system that we use was not compatible with the next version, and we couldn't, we didn't keep it. So we prefer to work on the development of GlossaLAB instead of working on that, because it had some limitations that we could have never done the things that we are doing right now. So if you went at the time to the index, there was an index, and if you click on the index, then you go to something which is similar to this. Now, for example, if you go to click, for example, on algorithmic information theory. So what we have done is, no, algorithmic information theory, maybe better. No, because it's a little bit more complete. But this article, or many others that we have, what we did is we took the sources of the book edition, and then from that book edition, we have automated the creation of the contents, to have them, all the different parts. And with all the different parts, we have taken the metadata, so what's supposed to be metadata, and all that metadata is what has enabled us to create the connections that were necessary to build up the fundamental structure that I have shown before, the semantic structure that I have shown before. Here, if you click on glossariumBITri, that's the collection, because we will go back. Right? So we go back here. So then we click on there. But if it were some other article, then click again in algorithmic information theory or algorithmic information theory. Then we have there several authors. They click on Mark Burgin, for example. So because Mark Burgin was the editor and the author, then here, and this is being done automatically, so we have that Mark had several articles, had algorithmic information theory, and so on. And he has expertise in a number of different domains. So clicking in one knowledge domain. Then if we get to the this is different in the beta. In the beta, we see the further information, right?
Oh.
In any case, so this is the information about what the knowledge domain is, and the idea is that from here we could also go to contents within the knowledge, that knowledge domain. This one was 02, that was computer science, with the normalized categories.
Sure. Well, the idea is this page is somewhat similar to any page on Wikipedia showing an info box. Here the advantage is that this data is actually a triplet, so we can relate all this information with other articles that share this information. For example, in this case, we see that the algorithm information theory has two authors, José María Díaz-Nafría and Mark Burgin. Well, so if I want to look for other articles written by Mark Burgin, well, I could try on Wikipedia to search Mark Burgin, but then I will get I will get a result that will not show any network of concepts. There, it's a plain structure because it's just a plain text search. In our case, we are giving a semantic weight to all these terms in order to make this network of concepts, these stars that we were seeing before on the Joel's presentation. So it's not very impressive. Is if we go to glossariumBITri collection and see just an index and a lot of articles. Well, but how can we manage this information? Well, this is where the semantic magic begins. If we go to GlossaLAB to display special properties, instead of searching on the search text box, we can, for example, make a faceted search, and we could try to search, for example, what articles have an author. Okay.
There is an explanation, by the way, there. When you go to the faceted shots, you get an help.
Yes. So you will get all the articles written by Mark Burgin, and then all the properties related to this author. And we can, for example, filter by types of contents, and we see that as an author, Mark Burgin has written in glossariumBITri 6 articles corresponding to theory, 3 articles are concepts, and 1 is related with discipline. So we can go and filter all this information. And if you think about it, you are basically navigating through the nodes of the network of concepts that Jose Maria was talking before. And we can go back and forth between the knowledge of this glossarium. And that's the nice thing of using these semantic properties and not just plain search.
Yeah, so in a way, what we have seen here with glossariumBITri is like a small view of what we will have. So when we have all the content articulated, but it's already a situation in which so the glossariumBITri, we had it in the platform and is again back, and it's back to life. So what means you already have also users, and with your users you can contribute even much more effective as we could before, because for example we have the discussion pages. In the discussion pages you can make any consideration about the contents that we have, and they are free to be developed. But you will get so further instructions if you want to work. But as you will see, it's very easy. So when you already have the user, there are many things that you can edit. Opening a draft page is very simple. And if you go to, for example, some of your articles, so you can open up, because Sonia, for example, had look for Sonia, or for Jorge had many. So for example, when if any of you see that there is some errors, then you can directly work on that. So because you have an edit button, you have the discussion, the edit button you can change, but you won't see it, because what will happen is that we will be notified for the changes, and then we need to review. So if in the case of Daniel, if Daniel changes, probably I don't know if what does it happen?
It will change.
It will change.
Yeah.
No, because it doesn't suppose.
You want me to edit the
No, because in your case, if you make a change,
Yeah.
it's a change that remains. But if some of you make a change, when you close it, you may not see it, but that it doesn't mean that it's not recorded. It's recorded, it's saved, but it's awaiting that the editors review it. To see if that change it makes sense. So also for you to be sure that things are not going to be changed by people. So this is a review system, a peer review system, and only things that are being published. So need the eye and need the supervision of the editors, and need to go over the peer review process. But you can start working on that, and you will see that the visual editor facilitates a lot the edition. There are several tools that are being implemented. So several years ago, for example, we didn't have visual editor. We didn't have so all the tools aligned to that, like for example, the equations editor, and the introduction of quotations and so on. All of them are facilities that are very easy to handle. And we are still working on it. So we just wanted to show you so ongoing work, but it's already some ready work, because this is a way to see so the effectiveness of the semantic design that we are still to finish. So there are several objects that we didn't create it, like the reviewers and other components, but at least for the articulation of the collection, as you see, it's enough, and then we can create something that has some good quality with respect to what we had originally. Maybe you may have some questions. I don't know if somebody asked something, no? Or if somebody want to ask about user management, or in any case, what we...
May I ask one question about the edit process? How many editors do you have? Because I guess you get quite many proposals for changes. So how can you manage the expectable amount of change proposals?
In principle, so we have, okay, we need to articulate the network of editors, but if you go to the scientific board, so we are several people. So we had before a number of editors that right now for every article is going to be a curator, and the curator are the ones that are responsible. I don't remember exactly the number, but there are many. So now that we will be starting, so it's good that we start with glossariumBITri, because it will be incremental. So if we would step on the Trans-François Encyclopedia with the thousands of articles and all people proposing, but the idea is that we want also to make a call. so for people to participate in the clarification process. So this is, in a way, is also a call that we have the thing is ready, the engine is ready, the canvas is also there, and of course, so the theoretical work is not something we can manage to do by ourselves. The editorial board for all the encyclopedia, already long time ago, it was established by the International Academy of System Science and Cybernetics, that Wolfgang, Rainer, and myself would coordinate kind of the rest of the people. But we are many. So in the glossariumBITri, we were many. I don't know how many people it's going to be now. In the GlossaLAB, Clinfo, and GlossaLAB Dixit, we are people. The people participating is above 20. So in the inside project, we are like a little bit lesser than 30. But those are the direct people participating in the project. But then we have more people that is connected. So, for example, I think that for the International Society for the Study of Information is something that can be interesting for them. So, for example, Gordana is a person who already participated before, and she's ready. She told me today that because in parallel she's in another session that she's organizing actually. And but she would like to be, and she was one of the authors at the time, and probably you know her. So,
yes.
so there are many people who put hands on. So
and especially since you mentioned it, so the connection to the IS4SI is getting stronger with you as the president and Teresa as the other president. So I think there is a lot of possibilities there in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Annette.